The arrest of an elected mayor in the Albanian city of Himare continues to strain relations between Greece and Albania. Fredi Beleri, an ethnic Greek who claimed victory in municipal elections on May 14th, was detained for alleged vote buying 2 days before the polls. Greece and the European Commission have called for Beleri's immediate release, saying his prevention from taking office would impact Albania's accession to the bloc. Albanian Prime Minister Rama dismissed the calls and said the EU needs to respect his country's judicial independence. And as protests continue on the southern Albanian coast, time might have already run out for Beleri. Here's why.
On May 14th, a 51-year-old ethnic Greek was elected as mayor of the southern Albanian city of Himare. But what makes Fredi Beleri even more peculiar is that he's the first mayor in Albania to be elected while in prison. 2 days earlier, he was arrested on charges of vote buying. Beleri ran as a representative of the Unity for Human Rights Party, which supports and represents the country's ethnic Greek minority. His arrest sparked outrage, and the Vice President of the European Commission, Margaritas Skinas, shared concerns.
Albania, which is seeking entry into the EU, needs to face consequences if Mayor-elect Fredi Beleri continues to be prevented from taking office after being democratically elected. The European Union cannot allow such violations without reacting.
The Greek Ministry of Foreign Affairs was also quick to respond.
Today's decision of the Vlora District Court, if there is no irrefutable evidence, constitutes a scandal. Decisions such as today's, which violate these principles, mean that in practice Albania is not following the European path.
The municipality has a significant Greek community, and the mayors of Athens and Thessaloniki joined the protests in support of the imprisoned to-be mayor. Albanian Prime Minister Rama condemned Greece's interference.
The arrest of ethnic Greek mayoral candidate Fredi Beleri is a matter for the judiciary, not the Greek state.
But the confrontations over the arrest seem to cloud the real question. Is Fredi Beleri a criminal or a victim? Some are seeing his arrest as a tactic to buy time. After the 3-month pretrial detention expires, Beleri will automatically be disqualified from the mayoral office. People close to Beleri claim that his arrest is connected with his intent to review the hotel investments of the company AGTCC. Some media outlets suggest it's owned by Artan Gatsi, the husband of the Albanian foreign minister. And as more details emerge, triggering new questions, Beleri's chances of taking office is being cast further into doubt.
Joining me now from Tirana is Ledion Krisafi. He's a senior researcher at the Albanian Institute for International Studies. Thank you very much for joining us today. Right, Ledion, so Albania arrested an ethnic Greek mayor just 2 days before the elections in May, accusing him of vote buying. What's it all about? Did Beleri really bribe the voters?
I think there is evidence. There were videos that he was trying to bribe the voters. At least this was what the police said. This is not something new, let's say, in Albania. It's something which usually happens from time to time in local or parliamentary elections. So there is nothing, let's say, extraordinary in his arrest or the fact that he was an ethnic Greek. And I have to remind you that at the moment in Albania, there are, I think, 5 or 6 current mayors or former mayors who are in prison or waiting for the court. So I don't think Beleri's case is so extraordinary. Only the fact that he is an ethnic Greek makes it maybe extraordinary. But if we see it in the context of Albania, of the justice system and what is happening, his case is not that extraordinary. Vote buying is, I can say, common, but it's a phenomenon which happens from time to time. We have several mayors at the moment in prison or waiting for courts. So when you see in this way, his case is not that extraordinary. What made it extraordinary is Greece's reaction in this case, and the fact that he was arrested 2 days before the elections.
On that reaction that you just hinted at, so Fredi Beleri is the first mayor in Albania to be elected while in prison, and some claim that it was a planned detention. What are your thoughts on that? Even the Greek Ministry of Foreign Affairs said this arrest wasn't within the rule of law, as Beleri was a candidate at the time.
Look, Beleri is, let's say, a controversial figure in Albania. He has been accused even several years ago for a massacre, an incident which happened in the border between Albania and Greece in 1994. He was never arrested for that, never accused for that, but he was never condemned for that, but he was accused for that, for the charge, and for other declarations in the last 30 years about the Hellenization of South Albania, etc. So he is, in general, a very controversial figure, and the fact that he was chosen from the Democratic Party, I should say, is not from the Greek minority in this case, but he was chosen as a candidate from the Democratic Party of Albania to be a candidate in Himare would spell, let's say, since the beginning, some kind of controversy. And he was controversial also during the campaign with calls about the Hellenization of Himare, of Hellenization of South Albania, of the Greek influence there. Prime Minister Rama, before the elections, also he had a very harsh language against Beleri. If it was staged or not, I can't say in this case, but I just want to say that the vote buying or this phenomenon is not something, let's say, extraordinary in this case. We shouldn't see it as extraordinary what has happened. So it's not common, but it's usual phenomenon in Albania. And if it was staged or not, we have to see what the court says at the end. What Greece has done in this case, it has presupposes that he is innocent just because he is Greek, ethnic Greek,
right.
which is a really strange. Really strange situation because let's say that if he had done something more worse than this, we would presuppose that he was innocent just because he was ethnic Greek in Albania.
Right, and that's one of the claims for now, as you say. But what will happen at this point? Because under the law, if Beleri doesn't take an oath within 3 months, he will then be disqualified from taking office. And he ran out of time already last week. What's going to happen now?
I think the best way to solve this situation is with new elections in Himare. I can't say if he is going to be condemned or not by the court because this is the court prerogative to say, and I can't say if he's innocent or not because I don't have the capacity. But I think the best way to solve this situation now is new elections in Himare. But the problem is that in the case of new elections, I think we'll have let's say a small electoral battle in Himare between Albania and Greece, because Greece will pour everything it has to win again in Himare. Albanian government, I think, will try everything it can to win Himare again, and we'll have, let's say, a small electoral battle between Albania and Greece in Himare. Himare is very important, not just about the supposedly Greek minority that Greece supports there, or the elections in general. The municipality is very small. The population is very small. It's around 6,000 voters in total. But the problem is that it is the most coveted, let's say, sought after area of Albania in the last years because of the booming tourism that is happening, and the properties which are there are the most sought after. So in this view, the Albanian government and Albanian business in general is very interested in Himare. But on the other hand, I think the inhabitants of Himare, at least not all of them, but those who voted at least for Beleri and those who voted for Greece, they see this as a way to, let's say, to escape this search for properties which is happening in Himare.
Very interesting when you talk about this economic angle as well, because some media outlets alleged Beleri was about to review some hotel investments on the coast of Himare, and this hotel group is owned by Albanian foreign minister's husband. Do you think there's a link there between this claim and his arrest, potentially?
The hotels in Himare are owned by everyone, not just the foreign minister's husband. There are, let's say, hundreds of investments. I don't think it has a direct relation with this, because we have to see how much the mayor of Himare has the potential to change the situation in the terrain, because the permissions for hotels and big investments are given by the government, by the commission of the territory commission. So it's not the prerogative that much of the mayor of Himare. He may give permissions for small hotels or small buildings, but the big resorts, big investments, which in Albania are called strategic investments, according to a law by the government a few years ago, are given by the government and by the territory commission. They're not given by the mayor of Himare. So in this way, I don't think he's going to change much in in terrain. But those who voted for him maybe think that he can change or he can protect them from these big investments who have been controversial, let's say, in the last years.
Right. Meanwhile, protests continue in Himare with mayors of prominent cities participating as well. Do you think this issue will further strain the relations between Greece and Albania more broadly?
In the short term, it has had some impact because the relations are strained at the moment. They have, let's say, frozen in a certain way at the moment. But in the long term, I don't think it's going to change much in the relation between Albania and Greece. These are episodes in the relation between the two countries. These have happened in the past, and they had repercussions in the short term. But in the long term, nothing has changed because Greece's interest in the case of Albania is that this Greek minority, which is in Albania, it should be inside the European Union, because being inside the European Union, being part of the integration to the European Union, it's much better for the minority, for its rights, for the schools it has in the south, etc. So the Greek interest is not to worsen the relations between Albania and Greece until this point, because if the relations are worsening in that level, then Albania would have some would need to react against the Greek minority inside the country. So in general, in long term, I don't think it's going to have any impact because of this fact, because Greece's interest is that the minority in Albania should be towards the European Union, because it's much better in its rights.
And Lydia, one last question on another point that sparked controversy on this issue. Is Beleri's case politically motivated, in your opinion? Because his son, Petros Beleri, said that it was politically motivated, as he's supported by former Prime Minister Sali Berisha's party, and current Prime Minister are on opposite sides. Has Himare then become another battleground for this rivalry? Is Beleri just a victim here?
I think Beleri is, let's say, is just a victim in this case. I don't think it's politically motivated because, as I told you, it's not going to change much in the terrain if he's 4 years as mayor. It's the permissions, the hotels, the resorts, everything is given by the government. And Berisha, in this case, has damaged its reputation because a lot of people in Albania see Beleri as a controversial figure, as an anti-Albanian personage who shouldn't be mayor, let's say. And these are also voters of Berisha in general in Albania. So in this case, Berisha has even damaged his image because he has put forward a candidate which the majority of Albanians see him as controversial. But from what his son's declarations, of Beleri's son's declarations, I think it's normal that he's going to say that it's politically motivated.
Lydia and Christofi, thank you very much for helping us dissect all this.
Thank you.
And that's it for this week. Thanks for watching and see you next time.